Hello everyone, my name is Lowko and welcome to another Heroes of the Storm video. Now in this video I want to be talking about Medivh, one of the upcoming heroes that got announced at the Heroes of the Storm Summit in California just a couple of days ago. I was lucky enough to try out the hero in several games right there. First off, I'm going to try and give a general introduction on the hero. Secondly, we're going to be talking about the abilities, and last but not least, I will be going over his strengths and weaknesses.
One must not become too complacent.
Blizzard decided to label Medivh as one of the specialists in the game. However, they also did mention briefly that he was regarded as a support for a very long time into development. Now, he is a very unique hero, but his damage capabilities are very low. He doesn't do a lot of damage, but he's really great at keeping the team alive and giving the team a lot of utility. However, he cannot actually heal the team either. He is sort of like a mix between someone who provides utility for the team as well as someone who does a little bit of damage. Now, the first response of pretty much all of the pro gamers is that he was pretty much overpowered. This is mainly because of his W skill known as the Force of Will that we will go over in just a second. Now, all of the footage that you're seeing right now is from the Heroes of the Storm Summit, so there may definitely be changes between right now and the actual release of the hero. Alright, so let's talk about the abilities that Medivh has. First and foremost, and one of the easiest to recognize abilities in the game, is going to be his Raven form. Now, the Raven form is something that transforms Medivh into a Raven just like he used to do in the good old Warcraft days. And it's instead of a normal mount. Medivh cannot sit on a mount like other heroes can, but whenever you hit the Z button, it will transform him into the Raven. Now, while he's in the Raven form, he is completely untargetable and he's also immune. He can fly over buildings and the buildings will not be attacking him at all. This provides him with a huge amount of vision and also scouting potential. Now, while he's in the mode, he can technically use spells, but it will immediately switch him back to being a human. Now, there are currently talents in the game that allow him to get either more speed in the game or get more vision temporarily, on top of some extra mana regeneration. Now, there's no timer on this skill, so it either lasts until it's cancelled or when he casts an ability. So once again, to clarify, he's completely immune to damage while he's in this mode. On his Q, we got the least exciting ability on Medivh by far. It's called the Arcane Rift, and it's basically a skill shot that goes straight in a line forward. He shoots an arcane bolt. It deals damage on impact, and when it hits a hero, it returns mana and a lot of the cooldown back to Medivh. So basically, this makes it something that you can poke your enemy heroes with in the lane. It's really important that you do hit heroes, however, because if you don't, you're obviously going to be wasting your mana on top of having a much longer cooldown. It is also Medivh's only damaging skill. So let's talk about the skill that, according to most professional gamers, will make him completely overpowered, and that is the Force of Will. Now, the Force of Will is something that's relatively comparable to Uther's Divine Shield. However, it's on a 5-second cooldown and it lasts 1.5 seconds without any talent spent on it. It can target a single hero, and that hero is not going to be taking any damage for the duration of the ability. However, that hero is still going to be susceptible to crowd control. Now, the cooldown of this ability is only 5 seconds, and the ability lasts for 1.5 seconds. So that basically means that, let's say you're playing together with an Illidan, that Illidan is only going to be taking damage 3.5 seconds of every 5 seconds. Now, what makes this skill really interesting is in particular the level 16 talents. You can either go for the level 16 Circle of Protection, that makes it so that nearby allies and really nearby allies are going to be shielded as well for 1.5 seconds, just like the main target. But you can also go for the Enduring Will, that makes it last 2 seconds rather than 1.5 seconds. Now, obviously this means that there is a ton of potential with this skill. I mean, it straight up gets rid of all of the damage that target would have been taking otherwise. So let's say all of the enemy team is jumping on one given target, you can shield them from damage for 1.5 seconds on a 5-second cooldown. It's stupidly powerful. Now, the one skill that is a complete playmaker for Medivh is going to be his E, and that one is called Portal. It basically creates a portal that allows the team to get through, and it has relatively long range by default. Basically, Medivh puts one portal at his feet, at least by default. You can put a talent up that also allows you to place that one. And then you have a second portal that you have to put a little bit further away. Now, just by right-clicking into it, the team will go through the portal and come out at the other end, and they can actually also go backwards in the portals too. Now, the portals only last for several seconds. However, obviously, you can get some crazy plays with this tool. Because the team can teleport in and out constantly, it does require very solid team communication, because otherwise everyone's just gonna be hovering around the portal instead, and then nobody ever really enters, and it's gonna be, you know, like I said, only lasting for a couple of seconds. So team communication is gonna be key with this skill. The ultimates of Medivh are kind of underwhelming, really. First off, we got the Polybomb. Now, while it sounds absolutely amazing, in realistic games, it's really not that great. Basically, what the Polybomb does is that it polymorphs a target just like the W of Brightwing does. However, after a couple of seconds and after the duration ends, if there is another hero close to the hero that was affected initially, the polymorph will move on to the next target. Technically speaking, this one lasts forever. However, in realistic games, like I mentioned, it's really not that great. I mean, you can just split up relatively easily, and because it is on a 40-second cooldown, oftentimes it's not gonna be the best pick. Really, the only thing that this ability is great at is if you are really willing to counter a certain enemy's ultimate. For example, the ETC's Mosh Pit, you can polymorph him out of that. Also, it zones the enemies away from that target temporarily, so I guess it's good at that as well. His second ultimate is called the Ley Line Seal. This is a skill shot in a very long time that has insane amounts of range. Basically, you shoot out this projectile. It is slow moving and relatively easy to dodge. However, if enemies are hit by it, they don't take any damage, but they're put into stasis. It sort of feels like the Zeratul ultimate. It's great for zoning and great for chasing because everyone will definitely be running out of it as soon as they possibly can. That said, like I mentioned, it is a little easy to dodge. So as long as the enemies are paying attention, it probably won't put any of them into stasis at all. So long story short, Medivh is great at granting the team more vision with his Raven form. He can scout ahead, and with some good usage, he can actually, obviously set up engagements much better than other heroes can. The vision that he grants with his Raven form will be for the entire team, so incoming traps can be easily scouted. Now his W is really where he does shine, however. The fact that you can get rid of all incoming damage for 1.5 seconds obviously sets up incredible plays. On top of that, you got the E ability as well in the portal that once again requires a lot of team communication, but can also easily win you the match if your opponents aren't paying attention. However, he does require you to be talking to your teammates. If you're not communicating with them, the E won't be really doing anything. And on top of that, if you're not communicating well either, your W that will be upgraded level 16 to, for example, spread to nearby allies is not gonna be helping much either, because everyone needs to be clumped together for that to be effective. Long story short, he's a great hero that has a ton of potential, but could also be a complete waste of space. Because of his damage output being relatively low, and because of the fact that he can't directly heal a target, he is probably not gonna be a great pick for pub matches. He is definitely a hero that requires a lot of skill to play properly. I hope this answers any questions that you may have had about Medivh in Heroes of the Storm. If, however, I didn't cover everything and you're wondering about something specific, let me know down below in the comment section right below the like button, and I will try and get back to you as soon as I possibly can. And other than that, I want to thank you all for watching. Have an amazing day. Do not forget to smile, and I'll see you in the next one.